feeling lost in life is a kind of inevitability for all of us. But what happens when this sense of being lost keeps appearing no matter what you do? No matter what career you try, what relationship you're in, or new hobbies that you try and pick up, this thing just keeps popping up. And if we're talking about career, maybe it's just because you haven't found your passion yet, and that's relatively common. But this video is about fear-based action. And this kind of action works on the basis of preventing painful things in the past from happening again. This is a kind of compensation which affects our beliefs, actions, values, and drives that inner critic in our head to be so loud and over-assert itself. It changes the way that we see things, and it's a kind of rupture which creates two worlds. Sometimes you're living your own life, thinking your own thoughts and forging your own path, but at other times it feels like this prompt of fear is driving you to do things that feel misaligned to what you really want. It feels more like you're just running away from a threat. Now, fear can happen irrespective of past pain because at the end of the day, it's survival. And sometimes we need to be prompted to survive. But I'm talking about the cases when fear is over the top. And this can happen due to the unconscious need to prevent past pain from happening again. And because that protective mechanism takes precedence over what we want to do, we can end up living to satisfy this insatiable part of us, which never makes us feel really like we're fulfilled, because we aren't living our own story anymore. We can get the sense we're living superficially, and it's why we can feel lost no matter what we do in the world. When we compensate like this for past pain, it's because at some point we were taught, hey, I would go to any length to not experience that again. And so that creates a cage around us and limits us in our ability to engage with the world in a fluid way. To that fearful part of us, life isn't about feeling fulfilled. It's about keeping safe because there's a perceived threat, but not a real one. So for example, in my own life, I see this exact prompt to go out in the world and have a successful career of some kind, but even if I did, something wouldn't be right and I'd still feel lost because I'm being driven by that fear, even if I did have my dream job. These kinds of workings live in the unconscious mind and drive our current behaviors. So our current experience often reflects the end result of many layers of protection that have built up over time. And this makes it confusing, because it can be harder to see the root of the problem. Then the outside world feels like a band-aid that we have to keep ripping off and putting on every day because we're compensating for past pain that couldn't be integrated. Integrating means we emotionally process what happens as it's happening, so it doesn't get stuck in ourselves long term. When we can't integrate or process our experience, that's when it goes into our unconscious mind as a silent but powerful driver of our behavior. Okay, so we have more of an idea of what's going on, but what's the solution? First of all, it can be helpful to liaise with our minds to introspect in a way which helps us understand the problem better. We're less interested in the actions our mind want us to take out of fear, and more interested in what perceived danger that action prevents. You can ask your mind what it's preventing and why, and just silently wait for an answer. That might sound weird at first, but this is a fantastic technique from Internal Family Systems, which is a fantastic model developed by Richard Schwartz. In my example, the symptom of my problem was that I needed to feel more productive and successful. But the cause of my problem was that I felt scared in the past when I felt behind, and I didn't want to feel that again. It was too overwhelming. So we can bring some empathy alongside that part that just doesn't want to feel overwhelmed and say, yeah, I get you. It's going to feel unnatural at first because now you're taking different roles on in your mind. That's a small intro to Internal Family Systems, which I will 100% make more videos on. Now, on a more emotional level, we are very used to experiencing that fear and impulsively sprinting in every direction. But remember, the solution doesn't exist over there or over there. So when we feel that impulse to run away, we get two options. We can run away and continue to feel lost out in the world, or we can stay exactly where we are and cultivate the skill of being the witness. When you stay in the internal hurricane, it's going to feel uncomfortable. You aren't going to want to be there, and that's exactly why you start running from it. But treat this like a skill like anything else. You can practice it at times when things aren't so intense, maybe just a little uncomfortable. This goes against what feels natural and can feel like the wrong thing to do. But we are training something new here. Instead of letting fear hook us, we sit alongside the fear, not needing it to change or be any different than it is right now. And we just watch it whilst attempting to cultivate lightness and curiosity if possible. This is called somatic meditation, and there are plenty of YouTube tutorials that can help you do this. I just typed in somatic meditation on YouTube and these are all the ones that came up. You might only be able to dip your toes in for short periods of time at first, and that's totally fine. What can happen over time, though, is you create inner safety for yourself. Over time, the fear can learn to complete its course and process within you because you've created an environment where it feels safe enough to do so. You'll reach a place where you aren't lost anymore because those unconscious drivers of fear have processed. I'm in this process right now and I haven't completed it, but I'm making progress, and you can tell you're making progress because the sense of agency comes back to you. You're not chasing everything out there anymore. You feel like you can stay where you are and be okay. And another part of that process was convincing myself that this is the best thing that I could be doing right now. It's the healthiest thing. It's actually not being out there. It's working on myself. It's the highest thing I can be doing. And that helped things calm down a little bit. The topics of internal family systems and somatic meditation purposefully weren't gone into at length here. They were more about giving you an overview. And I'm happy in the future to make more videos about this stuff, and I probably will, or to answer any questions you might have about it. We don't need to change our external circumstances. We just need to go back to the root. And with that, I appreciate your time. I hope it was helpful, and thank you for watching as always.